Hello, I'm George Gonzalez, and I'm obsessed with making games. And today we're going to talk about part three in a series of preparing for multiplayer and how to go about learning enemy AI behaviors and different solutions. So today is a level up video. It's non-multiplayer, but it's a setup for the next. And I want to give you guys some tips right off the bat to help you make decisions, and then talk about where I'm grabbing my information for today in the next video. First, let's talk about you. You might be watching this because in the future you might do AI and you want to kind of be prepared, or you might be someone that is looking for AI right now. So I have a few notes on Miro of things I want to talk about that might be relatable to you. So first, you might be someone who's, I need AI right now. Maybe I have 2 weeks to come up with it. Maybe because you're hired by someone and you need to figure it out. Or you might have a year, or I want to learn. You're just learning, you have time, or you have the budget to extend it that far. For different reasons, you might be employed, or you might be an indie dev, or you might just be learning as a hobbyist. Either one is fine, but depending on how fast you want to get is your how much time you have determines your options for what you should be learning AI wise, because there's a lot of videos on AI. And so we're going to go through other constraints. These are all points that you can consider when learning AI, some things to take into account: how much time you have, also how much money. Because if you have all the money in the world, you can just pay somebody to do it for you if you want, if you just want to do other things. And the AI is not something that you want to do. You can hire someone that already done it and can give you what you need. Or if you want to be a game designer and you just want someone to give you tools to do what you want. The other step is maybe you can have a Unity asset that like Designer Behavior Pro, or those tools that give you the branching options, or Emerald AI. There's a lot of Unity assets, or even in Unreal, that give you the tools for you to do what you want to do. And so if you have all the money in the world, you can pay for the assets, which is not even that costly, but it can save you time, and then you can do what you want. It's like game designer. I have a business, I'm making games, and I can afford business expenses. So that also like assets are taxed right off in the US, and that's something that you can benefit from if you have a business. If this is something that you're working, like especially if you're an indie dev, you have a registered business, you probably have to weigh the options, right? Do I have time to learn this? Where am I at? Like, where am I at? Do you know nothing? And there's like a vast thing of like making AAA AIs or all these behavior trees with all these cool things that an AI can do. And where do you think using money will help you bridge that gap, whether it's through learning a course or one-on-one help? And we'll see that in a second. Or are you like money wise, how much money you have? I eat out. If you eat out and then you're willing to spend, say, hey, I'm not going to go eat out this month, and I'm going to spend that money on courses or assets, or I have no money, so I'm going to learn it on my own. So you have these two levers, right? How much money you have and how much time. And those two coincide. Like if you need AI now and you have no money, then your options are pretty limited. You basically want something cheap, but it's not going to be robust. Okay, and then we're going to go up one more. Okay, so these are the options. Like, okay, once you have all these two kind of variables, you'll then decide, okay, these are my options, my outcomes. I can get a Unity asset, NPC controllers, third-person controllers. Usually, sometimes have an extension that's AI generated. You have behavior trees like Designer Pro on the Unity Asset Store, Emerald AI. Those are viable options. Then you have YouTube videos where you find your own solution, where you can dig deep in, and depending on how much time you have. And if you have no money that you want to learn it yourself, you basically creating behavior trees on your own, which is something that I'm doing right now. I'm taking the time to learn this because I think AI, not AI like ChatGPT, I mean enemy AI in a game is something that in itself is a career, I think, because there's so much to learn that you could that could be your career for life, doing AI stuff for games, enemy AI. Communities, maybe you join a community where there's other developers working on AI or multiplayer games, depending on what you're doing, or single player. One-on-one help, that one's another one. So if you don't have money, this one might not be a good one unless you can find someone that'll be willing to help you one-on-one for free. So that's why I have my Endgame Devs as a community where we have all levels, right? I have this YouTube video where I'm trying to share free information, and if people comment and reply or show up for the live stream, I'm willing to answer questions. And so I'm willing to give out that information for free. And then there's a community that I have where if you want more one-on-one help, those things are available. And if you're willing to do that, then you can finish your games and learn whatever it is you need to, and I can help you. So those are options there. And it's up to you, like how much time do you have and what do you need to learn? And the last thing is a single player or multiplayer. And there's a lot. So single player, there is tons of video. There's so much content. You have assets. You can almost do any of these. If I need AI now, I have 2 weeks. You can do any of these four with single player. Like you can do something that like you buy Emerald AI and it's so worth it. Like Emerald AI doesn't cost much. Be Designer Pro doesn't like for like between having no money and eating out. Like having like it's really if you're doing this for a hobby, then you probably don't need AI right now. If you need AI now or in 2 weeks, is because you're working for someone or you are an indie and you should have a business and this should be a viable expense. Okay. And it's more important than eating out, honestly. So, and a single player is very viable, okay, to buy an asset and get it done. Multiplayer is it's a higher learning curve and there's a lot more to it. But I'd say if you don't have any money and you need AI now or in 2 weeks, you probably want to look through YouTube communities or one-on-one help. Because you are going to have to learn. And that's why I'm trying to make these videos to bridge that gap so that if you have no money, there's at least a video that talks about multiplayer setups. The number one tip that I can give developers is accepting help. And this will forever be my number one tip is accepting help from someone that's done it before, right? That is huge. And I keep seeing it even today. Developers that are willing to struggle for no reason, where you see a lot of times where like, hey, I'm developing my own structure and code and I'm using like I spent 6 months developing my own animator system and then but it'll be worth it. And then like when do they launch that game? Like I'll probably never see their game or it'll never be released or I don't know. But most of the times I hear that and I'm like, I can only imagine how the rest of the game is coded because they have all this intricate stuff set up, but like it's not reusable, it's not modular, and it's not built on experience. That's the thing is like it's okay to build your own system. It's okay to mess around and do spaghetti code or whatever, like as long as it gets it done, right? But to build an infrastructure, something that's reusable, you have to have multiple attempts at it. And because as you go through experience, it'll help you. But so my main pet peeve is people not accepting help. And they want to go through the struggle, right? Of spending 6 months building their AI thing when you can pay $90 and get an asset and you're done. And so 6 months worth of your work, even if you worked at McDonald's, is worth more than buying an asset in Unity. So there's and you might say, well, they learned something. Well, hopefully they learned, but how do you know they learned? They're doing it on their own. It's like someone going out and playing basketball and not knowing the rules, or maybe reading the rules but not going with someone. Whereas and practicing without anyone helping them, they would probably shoot the ball weird. They might not even be practicing right. They're practicing with wrong mechanics. And in the end, it's not helpful. And it's the same with any kind of skills that you need to learn, whether it's a hobby or anything, paint like snowboarding, skiing, basketball, any sport. If you try anything that you're trying to do, there's certain skills required. And if you do it on your own, reading a book or trying to figure it out, most of the times you'll fall into certain ruts, like even lifting weights. If you do things on your own and you're just like, oh, I just see people lifting, and you just lift without knowing the proper technique, you can get injured. And it's the same with game dev. Oftentimes, yes, it's okay to start from scratch and figure it out as you go, but that route will not lead too far. And so you want to be able to find the source of what you're trying to accomplish. So you're trying to do AI, go through YouTube and look it up. And so that's why I'm suggesting, okay, so now I'm going to show you what I've done, and I'm trying to save you time by doing the work for you. So if you're watching these videos, this is to help you skip some of the frustrations that come with making your own stuff, especially if you're doing multiplayer, because a lot of times, again, it's the same thing. People build their own robust system for something that might not work. And I'm in the VR space in multiplayer, and things are changing all the time. Multiplayer, especially, Unity has a new multiplayer solution that's still not, I don't think, the same benchmark as other multiplayer solutions, but they're there. Okay, so let me show you. So I went through this. I'm going through these tutorials for AI group. I already finished this one, and I finished a bunch more. I went ahead, I looked through, and I said, okay, what can I do? And then as I went through what I'm doing, I'm branching off and creating a multiplayer version of the videos that I think are important. And so last time we talked about wandering. In this one, we're going to go over groups and formations. So I would recommend, I'm going to leave a link to the video. This is the video where you learn about formations for your AI, and I'm going to show you what that entails. So we have this guy in here that has, and you can see that it also detects walls. So it doesn't, and the green dots are where those guys are going to walk. And then I also have a script in here, which again, it's in the video. They show you how to do this. And he has Sue's Game Dev, I believe it is. he has his zip files uploaded for almost every lesson, or at least key points in the lessons. So very, very good YouTube channel. The main reason why I'm doing this, although see, so these are the scripts that he does, and he did a few specific. He has a bunch of other formations, but I just wanted to do one to test out the line formation with the multiplayer setup. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing this is because one is I'm going to do it for multiplayer, but two, I wanted to see if I could add the same logic to some random AIs, right? And specifically, as you saw, this AI didn't have the animations we needed. The animations that were provided by the asset are unusable because of the humanoid rigs. And I also trying to simplify the process. And specifically with this video here and the one on Monday, is the question that I wanted to answer is, what is the least amount of work that I have to do to make this multiplayer? And like the least amount of like code as lean as possible, where I don't touch the scripts. In the previous videos, you saw me adding a lot of network behavior to the core mechanics. And this time I was like, I want to leave it untouched as much as possible and just add a network solution that takes care of enabling and disabling certain things. And I was able to do it. And so that's why I want to show you this setup, because we'll be able to do this, sync this in multiplayer. And I found so many good things that I want to help you understand. So first off, follow the tutorial. Okay. And okay, let's say you have 2 weeks. You are at a crossroads. When you're prototyping, you have to understand what you can do, what you're able to accomplish. If you go the full route, I've seen developers with a lot of skills take 6 months creating these crazy behavior trees for ships and enemies and all these stuff that it's like awesome, amazing. But at the end of the day, we were not able to implement it into the game because it wasn't finished. Like it didn't get into the game. So for the sake of prototyping, I think these initial videos that he posts on YouTube are great. Like you can stop there, because later on he goes into the behavior trees and creating your own behavior trees. And honestly, you can do that, or you can buy an asset. And so that's where your path changes depending on what you're going to do. Okay, so when you're watching these videos on AI and behavior trees, think about, okay, how much time do you have? And what are you trying to accomplish? If you need something quick and you don't have the time, these are fine. Like if I hit play, if you need something like that, a monster that just chases and attacks, you're gonna have to do a lot with animations, but you don't have to overcomplicate things. Okay, you can set up something simple like this. This is just formations, and all it's doing is one guy is the leader, and he's doing the wandering that we did last week, and then the other guys are just following that point. So instead of wandering, they're actually those points behind, and those points are done by a scriptable object. So super simple, right? But it's building, and it's that foundation that I see when just by doing these 2 videos. This is part 2, right, of the other guy's series, Zeus Dev. And already this is way better than what I would have seen someone that's done it on their own, right? If they'd done this on their own, they would not be here. They would be with like, oh my gosh, they would have a bunch of trees for behaviors. And right now, all we have is walking and running, and we're not even using it. It's just idle and walking. Yes, it's not like the best ideal, but you can add later and polish. The thing is, like, you can have a lot of behavior with just running, walking and running. And then you have to think about jump, attacking and whatnot. But anyway, so this is really good as a starting point. And then you can add in the next week, we're going to go over the task. I created my own one for where it merges two of these things, where it's just sensor and chasing, sensor and wandering. And so when you sense someone, then it'll start chasing them. And so I created my own chase based on what I've learned. And so I'm showing you at each of these points how far you can take your learning, right? So I created these with my own. I downloaded an asset from Unity and I added what I've learned from him. And then I tweaked it. And now I'm going to make it multiplayer. And I'll see that on Monday. But I'm trying to iterate on a point, which is you don't have much time. You can take the few videos that he does, the first 4, and have enough understanding of AI to make your own stuff and then tweak it. Then the next thing you want to do is say, okay, do I have a month? Because then it expands. Like what he does later in the videos is create his own behavior tree. So then you have to decide, am I going to create my own behavior trees, or am I going to buy an asset? And buying the asset doesn't automatically make it easy. It's just you don't have to do the work, and you just have to learn the tools and how to use it, like a behavior designer or designer tree or something like that for the behavior trees. And then you have to figure out how to interact with it, how to attach the animations and the scripts and how to sync that. And so it's not easy, but it will take some time. So you have choices to make, or do you want to just hack it together? And it's okay for a prototype, but if you're working for someone, they need to understand that, like, yes, you might have hacked it in a day, but like the amount of work it takes to take it to the next level is even more. Like it's not just another day, because you're gonna have to recreate the foundation in a way that lets you expand your universe, and it could take months, because it's just that much work. I'm taking the time to do this right now because I want to make sure I understand exactly where I need to do things. Okay, and that is my main tip for you guys, is to look at some of these videos, especially this one. I think this is very valuable for AI. And then if you want to take it to the next level for multiplayer network solutions, that is a whole other aspect. And you have aiming and offset, and you think, okay, like if I have the aiming, right, and then if you have top and down, and you're doing all these things, you might think it's super hard, but it actually is not. And I'm going to show you in the next video. Hopefully by the time you see this, the other video will be uploaded as well. What made you watch this video? Why are you doing AI? I'm wondering, like, what are you trying to learn? And what is it that you struggle with in making games? This is what my biggest obstacle right now is: enemy AI. If I can nail this, then I can add more enemies to my game, and it's going to make it that much interesting and fun to interact with these guys. And I still have a long way to go, but I wanted to show you guys so that you guys could understand like how big this is. And in order to save time, you have to find someone else. You have to learn it, and you have to take the time to understand it, because there's a lot of moving pieces, and but it's doable if you take it one bite of chunk at a time. And don't start, because this is how I usually started. Like, I didn't do this before finding these videos that I have. Is I would Google, I would search these, I would watch these videos, but then I would just try to do something to get things done quick, and that created bad AI. And even in multiplayer games, I have AIs in games that are launched that are not the best. And even today, I went to Discord to kind of figure out, hey guys, I'm stuck. I'm in a community for a Fusion, and I was like, hey, like, I can't get this network agent to move at the right speed. Like, when it's single player, it moves perfectly fine, but when I'm in multiplayer game, it doesn't work. And so then I was like, I know where the problem is, but I can't figure out the solution. And then I was given the solution right away. Like, I said, hey, like, you might try this, and I tried it, and it worked. And so just by having patience and trying all your resources to figure things out, and taking the time to just like think about it, struggle through it, you'll be able to get much better results than just plowing through and doing your first iteration. And the last tip I'll share with you guys is be willing to delete stuff. Like, be willing, like, all this stuff that I'm working on right now is going to go in the trash. Like, I am going to redo all these things based on what I've learned and do it right. You're going to have to refactor, and you have to be willing to do that at some point with certain code, especially stuff that you're doing for the first time. If you've done it before, you probably have pre-made assets, or you tweak them to meet your needs, and it's a lot better. I know that I've done that a lot of times, where I've found specific solutions that I reuse, and other solutions I've reworked, and then I can reuse them. So a lot of good stuff. But if you're doing it for the first time, don't expect it to be perfect, and don't be married to whatever solution you find the first time, unless it does work. But most of the time, unless you already know the subject, it's really hard to come up with the solution from the beginning. And it's just the way it is. So expect struggles, but know that you don't have to struggle alone. You can find communities, you can find people that have been there that can help you avoid certain problems. If you have specific needs for your AIs, find someone that's done it before. Okay. Talk to you later. And we'll see you on Monday, where I'm going to show you exactly how this multiplayer works set up in the easiest way possible with Fusion. I'm telling you, it's great. And I love it. It's way better than what we did last week on Monday. And I've learned a lot since. And it's going to get better and better as we go through these series.